Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Bandit Network TV on YouTube. I finally got it right by saying that. Um, and also, thank you if you have tuned in from Facebook. Wow. This absolute shit show of a mess that has transpired over the past 48 hours. All of the confusion. I'm heating up food right now. So I'm about to sit down with my Taco Bell like good old times. And we're going to discuss it. I've already discussed this on my Rumble page. I've already done a live stream on Rumble where I was talking about, obviously Ernie Shell and is he being kept in the ICU at an Arkansas hospital? Because that is what basically the narrative is that people are going with. And I can confirm that that is true. At least that part is. So I want to clear up any confusion, what people may have, because I've heard conflicting information being put out. He's not in a hospital in Kentucky. He's out of state. Okay. This car crash that happened early Saturday morning happened in Arkansas. So, and I don't even know the hospital that he's being kept at or that he's being, housed at. And even if I did, I wouldn't be giving out that information here on live stream because it's been brought to my attention that people's been trying to contact this hospital. And so much so, this is not the first time that they've had to require anybody that calls the room phone to have a special PIN, okay, in order for you to speak to Shell, which is sad. It just goes to show how much people, I guess, are infatuated with what is going on. And some people, they're not going to believe it until they actually see it. But I don't see what else is going to make you believe that what you have been told is true. Yes, he's in the hospital. Yes, he is requiring surgeries because the wreck that he was involved in was life-threatening. I mean, honest to God, Ernie is lucky that he's still alive. But again, we're going to talk about it, Hello, Ran. So, first and foremost, as I was starting my nightly routine, I was having a chance to tune into Katie's live because I've been sleeping all day. And it seems like that Katie is confused along with all the rest of us, just lost in the sauce. People that have been close to or alleged to be close to the Shell family, such as Lysa K. Lysa K has something to say. And Satan's knockoff, Timu knockoff. Please stop calling this bitch Satan. That is an insult to Satan, okay? I've already told you before that Satan don't want nothing to do with that bitch. That being said, because of all of these conflicting things that have came out and people talking to the family, talking to Amber, talking to Melissa, Ernie's stepbrother Matt, it's just caused a whirlwind of uncertainty. Now, this is not the first time that Ernie Shell has been in the hospital, especially the first time that he's been in the hospital when he has evaded his arrest. Okay. This is nothing new. For the ones of us that have been around for a while, you would know that this is one of his tactics that he uses. But instead of going to actual hospitals, like real hospitals, in the past, it's been mental hospitals. Now, the first time that he skipped bail initially, the reason why he got in trouble to begin with was because he was going in for kidney dialysis. Um, so I can see why people are skeptical. You can't blame these people for being skeptical if this is true and they have to have legitimate proof. This is the information that I was told. And I found out this information early yesterday afternoon. I didn't say anything because out of respect for the family of Ernie, and plus I didn't want to be putting my foot in my mouth. There are a few things that I'm going to withhold from saying, but have been speculated, but I'm not here to confirm nor deny them. You guys can believe whatever you want to, but this is what I was told in a nutshell. Ernie has violated his probation. This has not been just this week. This has been going back like 2 weeks, actually. This is why he privated all of his lives from 2 weeks back. When he found out that his PO put a warrant out, he, of course, went on the run. Of course, Kentucky has to have time to update the online system to show the warrant. That's why it wasn't appearing on Cool, the offender's website, Madison County Court, Perry County Court. But Ernie knew what was going on. He just wasn't telling his audience. So when that happened, he apparently went on the run. Whenever he was at Jaden Spicer's funeral, I'm going to assume that was the last time that he was in the state of Kentucky. Friday night, when he was up on Katie's panel, he lied to Margaret and he lied to everybody about being in Hazard or Harlan that day. He was nowhere in the state of Kentucky. He was in Arkansas. I don't know what happened. But sometime during the early morning hours of Saturday, let's see, today is the 24th, the 23rd, let's see. Yeah, the 23rd. He was involved in a car wreck, like a car crash. He crashed into a tree. That's what I was told. He did this because he was afraid of being apprehended by the police. The police were behind him. This is no high-speed chase. The Arkansas police didn't know anything about his warrants in Kentucky. Even if they ran his license, this probably wouldn't pop up because Arkansas has nothing to do with Kentucky. Charges that you get, unless like you have some serious charges, like you just murdered somebody, and there's a bolo out, like BK, that's not going to pop up in Arkansas system. So, but that being said, he wasn't even on the police's radar. Ernie was paranoid out of his mind. He got out on the road and yeah, apparently he wasn't paying attention, and he crashed into a tree. He ended up in the ICU. He was initially flown to he went to a hospital, and then he was flown, airlifted to another hospital, um, where that's where he was in the ICU. That is when the family was contacted, including Margaret, um, Amber, and all of them, and they basically said, "You may want to get down here because we don't know if he's gonna make it." He was unresponsive yesterday. He has I've heard talks of him being in communication with some of his family today, so he's awake, but I don't know if his condition has stabilized yet. I mean, you would have to assume that it would if he's able to call people on the phone, you know, but this is what I want to say about this. And I said this on Rumble, and this is a terrible thing. This is a terrible thing to think about, but considering the circumstances, you have to wonder if he purposely crashed that van, okay? The van that was not his. I believe it was the work van. That was what was told to me. This van was not rented out for Ernie. Ernie did not rent this van out. He was telling the truth whenever he said that he got fired from his job. He was supposed to turn that van, the vehicle, back in. That's the one that he wrecked. So that's a whole different other can of worms. Um, but this is what I'm getting at. Considering how much we know, he's desperate not to go back to jail. I mean, there's a reason why he was on the run. It crossed my mind today, and I was thinking, please do not tell me that he crashed this van into a tree because he was so paranoid about going back to jail that he was hoping to either one, it would kill him, or two, if it didn't kill him, then he would end up in critical care because he knew that if he got caught, or regardless of the situation, he was going back to jail. Some people saying that there's going to be a 5150 hospital. You know, it don't matter at this point, really, because at the end of the day, Ernie's going to have to face what he did. He does have new charges, and even if he goes into psych ward, it's going to be temporary. So that's irrelevant to the factor. What I'm trying to get at is he probably, I don't want to say probably, but I speculate whether he crashed that van to get himself hurt. That way, when he does eventually go back into jail, it's going to be somewhere like Three Forks, where it's kind of like a hospital jail, or he's going to be kept in a ward. He's doing it to evade being kept in Gen Pop because he hated Madison County. He's been verbal about that. So that's what makes me speculate, did this crazy son of a bitch crash this van just for the sake of him going into medical? Now, who is this that's pulling up? Hold on for 1 second. I'll be right back. lacerated liver. Yeah, it's been said that he has lacerations on his liver. Windshield imploded on impact. I didn't. It probably did. I didn't hear anything about that. He's seen blue lights and they thought they were after him. He was high. Fact. Again, I'm not going to put out, you know, you guys know. Let me just go ahead and say this. You're smart enough. You can form your own conclusions when it comes to that. But I'm not going to put that out here on my network because I've been told not to talk about it. I cannot confirm nor deny if Ernie was high, but you can use deduction and come to your own conclusion. Regardless if he's high or not, if he was high when this happened, I was thinking he probably did do this. And especially if he was high, you know, if he was under the influence of something, then that's not out of the ordinary for him to, or the realms, being crazy enough to put his life at risk just so he don't have to go back to jail. This time he has a legitimate reason to be in the critical care unit or like in a legitimate hospital, you know. Um, but yes, this is what has happened. And it's just, yeah, the timing, the timing of things. He wasn't even out 8 months, 8 months from the time that he got released back in February. And now, you know, he's back in the same situation, if not worse this time. Because this time he has no bail. It's I can comfortably and confidently say that most likely he's not coming back to YouTube anytime soon. And if he does, then he might want to do it while he's at that hospital. Because whether you want to believe, oh, he's going to surgery after this, oh, he's going to the psych ward, oh, he's going to jail, he ain't going to be going on YouTube live from any of those places. So it's the timing is so funny because it's about to be the 25th. He got arrested last year on the 27th. That's when this whole thing started. As far as his apprehension and him being on probation. He was arrested on August 27th of 2024 in York County, South Carolina. The arresting agency is unknown still to this day. But if you go by what Ernie is saying, it was the Department of Homeland Security. So the feds arrested him. He will more than likely find a pigeon to relay his messages. Yep. And I can tell you, whoever that lucky person is, speaking from experience, you may want to reconsider it. I've said to him, you need to stay off YouTube. You need to stay off YouTube. Look at what this has done. It should be a wake-up call that you're in jail. And even after all of this, he still chose to get back on YouTube, which I knew that he would. It's not a surprise. But let's just say that he never did come back, right? I'm not saying that necessarily, whether he came back to the internet or not, the circumstances that played out recently with him crashing his car, that van that he didn't know that's a work van. We're about to get to that here in a second. That would have still happened. He would have still violated his parole. I don't think that YouTube would have a factor into that. But in a way it does, because as people have been saying and speculating in the chat, that he was high, allegedly. He was going to get high regardless whether he got the money from YouTube or off YouTube. I mean, a drug addict is going to get their fix by all means necessary at all cost. I want to get high. Hey Lisa, I hate the fact that so many people in here are dependent on this man for their content. A lot of creators don't have other content and don't research. Well, a lot of people are going to have to move on from Ernie after this. Because, like I said, I don't think that he's coming back to YouTube. There's somebody else that's pulling in. There's somebody else that's pulling in here. I don't think that he'll come back to YouTube. Who is this? Okay. It's not anyone's fault how he ended up in his predicament except Ernie's. It's not Lisa K's fault. It's not, you know, even the Mean Girls or the Tigers. Now, yes, they are part of the problem. The reason why they're part of the problem is because they keep on, they're enabling him. They're giving him money. And they're trusting that Ernie is doing the right thing with the money. And they're probably thinking, well, here, Ernie, here's some gas, or here's some money for you to be out on the road because you want to get something to eat. You want to go to Cracker Barrel. Oh yeah, by the way, guys, did you see my new logo? my new logo. Back to what I was talking about. They're probably thinking that they're giving him money for the things that he needs, but in reality, he's probably doing something else with it. And that's where the problem is, because you don't know where your money's going. And you can't say that you're being scammed because you've known what he's doing for the past 4 years. So as long as he continues to garner donations and funds from his supporters, this is going to continue to happen. And I said about a month ago, when it comes to, the mean girls, the same people that have played his adversaries but have supported him behind the scenes, and the Tigers, his ride or dies. It's going to take something so dramatic to put an end to this cycle. And I think I said it's going to take death. Like, it's going to take him literally dying for people to stop what they're doing. Now, maybe I should be careful with my words because eerily they have came to pass. Um, Now, luckily, he didn't die from this. He came an inch close to his life. But just think, let's just say that he did pass away. Let's just say that he did die, and all of this stuff came out. Oh, he was getting high. He was using the money to buy whatever. Allegedly, again, I don't know if he was high or not. I can't confirm nor deny that. I know that's what people's been saying, but I can't confirm nor deny it. But let's just say that that was the case, and that contributed to what happened, and he lost his life. How would you people feel? And I'm talking, whenever I say people, I'm talking to the ones that have sent him donations, the ones that continue to enable him, the ones that have gave him second chances, if you want to say that. If there's people from all sides that genuinely, you hate you love the person, but you hate their habits. Well, if you really love the person, stop supporting their habits. And the way that you can stop supporting their habits is stop giving over your hard-earned funds to enable them. Not saying again, this is if he's not getting it from YouTube, he'll probably get it from somewhere else. I mean, and it doesn't even have to be drugs. If you want to take drugs out of the situation, you're just giving him funds and means of escaping, apprehending his arrest. Some people knew that he was on the run because Ernie communicates with them behind the scenes. I don't need to say names. You can guess who I'm talking about. And they go right along with him. You were part of the problem. So please stop. I have no reason to lie. Matt, look at your messages. Well, that's the thing, I do agree with you partly there. Um, there's people that say, "Well, I don't like Ernie because of the things that he's done, but I don't want to see him dead." There's just the same amount of people that say, "I don't give a fuck about what happens to him. I don't care if he lives or dies." There's just that many people out there. Understandably so. I'm not, who am I to dictate how these people should think or feel? Because he has pissed off a lot of people. He's done dirty, dirty deeds. He has scammed. He's lied about a lot. And again, I can't blame anybody that still was questioning this information because this is what happens when you're a liar. You don't know what to believe. It's like the boy that cried wolf. People, they don't believe anything. They're skeptical about everything. Now, one thing is safe to say is, well, like I said, he's not coming back to YouTube. Um, he's probably going to have somebody put out his messages, act as his publicist, his PR, and whoever is the lucky schmuck, whoever that may be, I would hope that you would give that a second thought before doing it. And if you do it, it needs to be it needs to be handled differently. I just don't know what to say, folks. It's it's dramatic, and usually this is how things turn out. I mean, nothing can go on forever. This cat and mouse game. I mean, Ernie was being real reckless before. When this happened, he was flat out calling out his PO, which his PO is watching all of this, probably listening to this broadcast, all of the broadcast, hearing Ernie on the internet call out his first and last name, putting him on blast, calling him a bitch, taunting law enforcement. So it's understandable why he would be paranoid um, about being on the run. And you can only hope that the Madison County Police and Perry County Police and his probation team is going to be nice when he gets back to Kentucky, whenever he gets expedited back. Whether it be after surgeries, he's going to he's going to the psych ward. It still don't change what's happening. He still has to face these charges. Whether he's in there for a month, 3 months, 6 months, it's going to come. And that's an obvious, I know, that's an obvious that, yeah, duh, Isaac, he's going to have to face these charges. Yeah, I know. But this, this time, myself included, I think that a lot of people are going to have to reevaluate their content and find different things to talk about because you're literally beating a dead tiger. Now let's talk about the stolen van. Because again, Ernie was supposed to turn back in the van that he wrecked. That he wrecked. This is some serious shit. Are these the new charges? What people are talking about? The stolen property. This time he actually did steal the van. He probably stole the van because he needed some transportation. He knew that. I mean, how else was he going to get to Arkansas? This is some serious, serious shit that he has got himself into. Very serious crimes. You're talking about not only stolen property, but taking stolen property out of state lines, multiple state lines at that. I mean, the probation, whatever happened with him in his probation, whether he pissed dirty, if you want to believe that, or he just pissed off his PO. I mean, that that was just slaps on the wrist compared to the stuff that he has coming. This is not good. Yes. Yes, Brad. He's in Arkansas. He's in the hospital in Arkansas. This did not happen in Harlan, Kentucky. This is nowhere in Harlan, Kentucky. Whenever he was taunting you, he was not in Kentucky at all. Whenever he was at the Mexican restaurant that day, he was not in Kentucky. He was in Arkansas. See, there's been a lot of confusion surrounding this situation. I'm just now looking at your comments. There was a lot of people. Who told you he was in Arkansas? This is coming from the family and Margaret. That's what I was told. So he's not in a this didn't happen in Kentucky. That's why I'm saying he's been on the run for longer than what the internet knows from what I was told. That's why he went back and he deleted 2 weeks worth of his lives, and it's basic the internet is was behind basically a week. It's a sick, unhealthy fascination for one particular person, myself included, you know, even though I say that I'm talking about the news, at the end of the day, this is not news. It may be news to the people within this community, yes, but this is not news. What you're seeing is, well, what Ernie's been saying is it's a movie, and you're basically witnessing his downfall, his demise. Hmm. But yeah, that's what was said to me was he was in Arkansas. Take of it as you wish. That has been confirmed. That's coming from the family. That came from Amber because she was one of the first one that knew, and how she knew was because, well, whenever he was went to the first hospital, that's when it was contacted, and the family was contacted again. Amber was when the state trooper or whatever Arkansas police officer called them and said, "You may want to get down here because he may not make it." Because he was unconscious yesterday. He broke every bone in his body, and he has severe lacerations on his liver. Again, he's lucky to be alive. I'm guessing that the lacerations on his liver were because of the seatbelt, because that's what happens. Sometimes seatbelts can backfire big time, and so can airbags. So, and she was a hater at one time too, his publicist. One of the questions that I have was why was he in Arkansas? Who's in Arkansas that he was seeing? Who is in Arkansas that would be housing a fugitive? Why would he go to Arkansas? I mean, who knows? And considering his prior health conditions, with his HIV. Um, this is this is a nasty, nasty combination of things. And that's why I'm thinking, I'm like, does deep inside, does Ernie, I would hate to think this, because as much as I talk about my own demise, it's depressing to think that somebody else is going through that state of mind. And it just makes you think, has that ever crossed his mind? You know? And this is the turning point. This was an attempt. Because if it is true that he's going off to the psych ward, that would be a damn good reason to go off to the psych ward. Trying to take yourself out in a car accident. I don't know if that's what he was trying to do. Again, that's just what I speculate. You have to consider all what he was risking his life, and if he was on drugs, it just exacerbated the whole thing. It's just a bad situation. Hey, Renee, you know, it's just a bad situation that we have here. And there's people that love him and his true supporters. They're still questioning things, but basically what you have heard is a truth. It has been confirmed, at least him being in critical care, the ICU, out of state. That part I know is true. And him also crashing this van that that was a company van. That part is also true. So, hey, all. So Ernie actually got into a real. Yes, he did, Lisa. He did. He actually got into an accident. This has been confirmed. The family is not making this up. Please, and anybody out there that's contacting his family, stop. Just stop. We want to know about Ernie. Stop it. Give these people some privacy. Because even if you don't respect Ernie, even if you don't like Ernie, like what Lisa Kay was saying, give the family respect. They don't want to be harassed and bombarded. They've had to turn off their own phones. They've had to turn off their phones because they've been receiving so many phone calls, some way, somehow, of people off the internet wondering what's going on with Ernie. Stop harassing the family. Stop calling the hospital. Trying to get, information. You're getting what you're hearing here on the internet is true. I don't see why it would be a very sick lie to make up that this happened. I don't even know how you could make this stuff up for the people that think this is, oh, it's a hoax, it's a farce, No, it's not, but you can continue believing what you want to. he needs to get off the internet, Rand. We've talked about, like, the best thing that he can do is go take care. Well, he has a lot. He has a lot. He has a shit ton to keep him busy, and he's not going to have time to get on YouTube. everything between his physical health to his mental health to his legal business. I mean, he needs to take care of him. And if you really care about Ernie, you need to, if he, in the event that he does get on the internet again, and if you see him start to fall into this cycle of, you know, LARPing, you need to be honest with him and say, leave YouTube and Facebook and all of this alone. That's the best thing you can do. The Mean Girls. Yeah. Now, there's a lot of them, actually, a fair number of them that do not like me because of the things that I've said, but also they've said, aside from my personal beef with them, see, you know, I wonder how they're feeling because if you want to assume that, well, they're probably going to say we thought that genuinely he made a turn for the best and he was getting his life together and that's why we were sending him money, all of Nicolina's people, Nicolina included. Oh, I bet you feel like that you have egg on your face now. You feel like a goofy, all of you feel like clowns. Because guess what? You've probably been duped again. Just saying. Whether you realized what you were doing or not, whether you wanted to give Ernie the benefit of the doubt or not, the outcome is what the outcome is. Now the truth has come out, and this is what you have condoned and supported and backed. This is what they've manifested. Because these are the people that he's relied on the most. And there's a few people that's in my chat, Angel Eyes, I saw your comment. Lisa Keckler, there's a few tigers in here. There's a few, not all of Ernie's tigers support what he's been doing. They may support him, but they don't support his actions. So I don't want to include them all in one group, like them throwing money, them enabling him. Because I've read the chats and I know what goes on. And some of you ask questions, you ask him and you doubt the things that he's saying to you, even before all of this happened, even before he was honest and said, listen, I'm on the run. And he kept on lying, saying, oh, I'm just joking, I talked to my PO and everything's worked out. You continue to ask questions and you have every right to. But like I said, it's time for us to myself include. I can tell you what I'm going to do is I'm getting my channel. First of all, this channel's for sale. A lot of people, they think that I'm joking whenever I say that. No, this channel is actually for sale. If anybody is interested in buying it, you can email me. But until it's sold, or until even if it doesn't sell, I'm taking my content into a new direction. I'm getting back to talking about these cases, crime cases that I've covered. Um, I'll still talk about Ernie, but I'm not. I mean, there's nothing much to talk about. At this point, we're just speculating about what happened and who's lying and who's telling the truth. It's there's only so much you can say regarding this situation before it just sounds like an echo chamber. And until Ernie actually comes back on and you hear from him, people are probably still going to be dissatisfied with what's been said. And even then, even if he comes back, people are not going to be accepting it. But again, I don't see why you would lie about getting yourself into a car wreck and ending up in the ICU. Is just crazy. So if anybody has, something to say, then Wind and Wims, hello, hello, hello. Markella, hello. So again, I'm not trying to be condescending whenever I say that. I'm just saying that it's I said what I said. I'm not going to explain myself no longer. I would suspect Ernie will need a coal procedure involving a that calls coils and other agents into the blood vessels, which helps him start arterial bleed. See, yeah, that's I've heard that he's like internally bleeding, which is not good. It just goes to show that it's bad. I mean, it's worse than what people realize. I can't even put into words. I have not been active due to the passing of my sister, so I just found out this evening of him having a wreck. Yes, yeah, he wrecked a company van in Arkansas, and he has been in the critical care unit as of yesterday. This happened early Saturday morning. Yeah, he should have just, bit the bullet and took his probation. If he pissed dirty, then just go ahead and bite the bullet. He'll probably he was gonna go back to jail, but you know, he wouldn't have the charges that he is now, and he wouldn't be in the critical care unit, and he wouldn't have all this other stuff that now he has to deal with. So yeah, he's stubborn, Renee. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and get off here. Thank you guys for tuning back in. This is a developing story. Um, as future updates come out about this, I will be sure to keep you posted. You have been listening to Bandit Network TV.